I have a very long relationship to Germany and especially to Bavaria, beginning when I was 2 years old and I first came to Bavaria with my father, who was an army officer stationed in Fürth. And then I came back to Germany, back to Bavaria as a soldier, served in Bad Tolz in southern Germany, in southern Bavaria from 1985 to 1988. Had a wonderful experience. This is where I learned to ski, for example, and the government paid for it because I got a free ski pass, and they called it training. So that some army training is actually a lot of fun, and skiing on the Brauneck in Lengries near Bad Tolz was one of my best experiences. I never imagined that one day I would get to come back to Bavaria and serve as the Consul General, so this is a really fantastic, unimaginable thing. It's one of the best jobs in the Foreign Service because Bavaria and Munich is not only a wonderful place to live, but Bavaria is an extremely important part of Germany, important part of Europe, and therefore an important part of our foreign policy. A lot of people don't realize that Bavaria was an independent country. It would have it'd be the seventh largest economy in the EU, bigger than even than Poland, for example. So that shows how important Bavaria is economically. We saw in the Grand Coalition negotiations, the Minister-President of Bavaria, who's also the head of the Christian Social Union, he was negotiating side by side with the Chancellor and the head of the Social Democratic Party, once again showing how Bavaria is special and carries special weight within Germany. So our consulate here is a very robust, big consulate because we have a lot of interests in common with Germany following the political developments here, the political developments, the economic developments. We have a very close commercial relationship. We do a lot of public diplomacy because we developed this very special relationship with Bavaria during the Cold War. We had lots of troops here. We don't have as many troops today as we used to have. We still have a significant number of troops, which is still important to our security relationship, but not nearly as many troops as we had in the past. So a big part of our work here at the consulate is to develop a close relationship with the younger generation of Bavarians for whom the transatlantic relationship is not self-evident. Why is it still important to have this special close relationship that we developed during the Cold War? Why is that still important in the 21st century? So that's part of our work here in the consulate. So it's super exciting. I really enjoy it. And what we're working on for the future in the 21st century is to develop a new framework for our relations between Europe and the United States. And that new framework is going to be the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. We had NATO. That was the framework for our relationship in the latter half of the 20th century. It's what enabled us to overcome the division of Berlin, the division of Germany, the division of Europe without shedding any blood. We did that together through NATO. Our challenge in the 21st century, now that we have a Europe that's almost completely whole, free, and at peace, our challenge now is to create the framework for prosperity so that all of our peoples can enjoy the highest standard of living possible. And so that's what this Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership is about. It is not oriented against anybody. So in that sense, it's not like NATO. NATO, of course, was oriented against security threats that we had here in Europe, specifically the Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union. The Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership is not oriented against anybody, but it sets an example of the way we want to see the world evolve. And that means a free, fair, transparent, rules-based trading system where human rights are respected, workers' rights are respected, intellectual property right is respected. And that is something that we hope will become the standard for the rest of the world to follow, including countries to our south and to our east. Another part of my job here is that when we have inevitable difficulties in a relationship, and we've always had challenges in our relationship, that's just normal, I think, part of human relations. Our job here in the consulate is to try to explain what the U.S. position is, how we see things from the other side of the Atlantic, and at the same time, our job is to help Washington and also our colleagues in Berlin, because obviously Bavaria is different than the rest of Germany, to help them understand how Bavarians see it. And that's very important, this idea of mutual understanding, because without really understanding each other's positions, you can't solve anything. So that is why our work is so important. A lot of people in Washington would say, well, we have all this wonderful electronic communication. We have Twitter, Facebook, email, all these things. Maybe we don't really need a physical presence at all these consulates anymore. And I would argue just the opposite. The person-to-person contact is as important as ever. Of course, we have a very active social media operation here at the consulate. We take that very seriously, especially our outreach to the younger generation, because that's how they get their information. They get their information much differently than my generation did. They get it through Facebook, Twitter, and all these other media. So we take that very seriously, but at the same time, you cannot underestimate how important personal relations are. And that's why we have this consulate here, to foster mutual understanding, because there will inevitably be misunderstandings and differences of opinion, and our job here is to try to smooth that out.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.